What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode number 10 of the Weekend Review. My name is Sean, and I'm the host of this internet show. And on this week's show, we have two games. Nope, that's not right. Two movies. One game, one very important game. And we'll look forward to this week's new releases. I'm wearing this fun Seattle jersey because Thursday is opening day. It's like a Griffey jersey, so I guess I should probably turn my hat backwards so that I really feel like King Griffey Jr. because he's my favorite baseball player. So get hyped for opening day. I didn't actually play what's it called, MLB The Show 18. I bought it, but I didn't play enough of it to have any sort of opinion on it. I don't know. Check back next week to see more of this get up. I don't look good in a backwards hat, but I did it anyway for the comedy. We will start on the movie side this week, and we'll start with Pacific Rim Uprising because I don't have a ton to say about it. I wrote down 4 notes on it, and that's part of my review of this movie. Is it's kind of forgettable. I enjoyed my time with it in a theater, but it's 2 days after I saw it, and I could barely come up with anything that I really remembered about it. So we'll go through really quickly a few things that I think this movie did well, and I actually can't believe that I'm saying that this is a good movie. Pacific Rim 1 sucks. It's a bad movie. I don't like it at all. And I went into this movie maybe with less than no expectations, if that's possible. I didn't care. I went with a friend. It was a good time just going to a movie with Matt. It's always a good time. For me to come out and just say hey, this is a great movie, or a movie that I enjoyed, maybe great is a little bit too much, but a movie I enjoyed is very, very surprising. However, going in with, again, no expectations probably helps that. It kept the two best characters from the last movie, which are the two doctors, Charlie Day, and I don't know the other guy's name, but they were the best part of the first movie, and it's nice to see them carry over and have a little bit more to do in this particular movie. I'm not super remembering the first movie very well. They could have had more to do. I always forget, actually, that Charlie Day is in that movie. I love him in It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, and Horrible Bosses is good, but I always forget he's in Pacific Rim. I think the characters are way, way better in this movie. They get short but effective backstories. I understand who they are. I don't need a ton of information going into this or coming out of it. They're there. They're in this movie. Things happen. It's fine. As far as the pacing is concerned, the monster fights are better paced, or better. I'm stuck on the word pace. I'm honed in on it. I just want the word pace, like a pace car. I love NASCAR. I don't love NASCAR. That's a bad analogy. I don't know where I'm going with this. There was just something about this movie that clicked with me better, and I don't know if the root of the problem in the first movie is I didn't care about the characters. I know that's the root of the problem. So to have that solved in this particular one, where I watch characters that I actually give a shit about, and when they, go do stuff and they fight, and I'm like, oh, I hope, they make it out okay. In the last one, I couldn't care less. I literally could not care. Except for Idris Elba. Spoiler alert, doesn't make it out. When it's all said and done, this is probably a one and done movie for me. I'm going to watch it once, and I'll think about it for maybe a day, and then I'll go watch something else and completely forget all of the plot points or anything interesting that happened, because I can't actually really tell you. Robots fight monsters at a better pace than the original. It works better. It's just a much, much better movie. I'm not going to care about it when it comes out on Blu-ray. I don't know. It's a movie that exists. I had a good time in the theater, but that's it. If you like the first one, go check this out. If you didn't like the first one, maybe give this one a shot, because depending on what you didn't like in the first one, you might actually find something that you like here, like I did. Next up, we have Love, Simon, which is a movie I'm going to go a little bit more in depth on. So I'm going to give a forewarn, I guess, a spoiler warning. I'm not going to go too much into it. It's not, a terribly unpredictable movie, but if you want to go in as blind as possible, maybe don't watch this, hop out, come back to it later. So just, spoiler warning for this particular segment. Love, Simon is a terrific movie. I really, really like this. Of the two movies that we talked about this week, or going to talk about this week, this is the one I would recommend. It's one of the best movies I've seen this year. It actually might be the best movie I've seen this year. It'd be between that, Thoroughbreds, or that other one, A Fantastic Woman. Those would be the 3 so far contenders. We'll talk more about what the best movie of the quarter is next week, so look forward to that next week. Boy, that's a redundant sentence. Look forward to it. That's the point. This is a really, really great movie. Love, Simon is one of the best romantic comedies I've seen. It's right up there probably with something like The Big Sick, which I really, really enjoyed. I think The Big Sick is actually my favorite romantic comedy probably ever. I know I had Shaun of the Dead up there for a long time, and that is technically a romantic comedy, but I think that The Big Sick is just a little bit above it. And I think this one's right in there, so it's definitely top three. This movie is just great from start to finish. It's heartfelt, it's humorous, it feels very, very real. It clicked with me and it hit. The highlight of this movie for me in particular was the extended emotional climax of the film. When all the puzzle pieces start to fall into place and things start to unravel, a decision is made by a separate character that just throws everything into a flux. And the way that it works just was so effective, and just so like, just watching with like bated breath as you watch Simon maybe make very selfish choices trying to protect himself, and putting his friends and loved ones in not in like harm's way, but like putting them in positions to where they're going to be hurt emotionally is just, it's really great. I love the fact that Simon isn't a wholly good person in this movie. He makes selfish decisions. He's a bit of a jerk sometimes. He wants to keep this secret so bad that he's willing to sacrifice other people to, keep things the same way. He's a good character at heart, and that's why we root for him. That's why when things, like I was saying, when they start to unravel, you just sit there with bated breath going like, uh-oh, like this isn't going to end super great. But in spoiler alert, it does. It has a great flow of like, it goes up to like a high point and then just crashes down, but they give it a redemptive portion to it, and they make all the characters so understanding and so kind to this sort of thing. It's really, really nice. It's a movie that has a happy ending, and that's fucking great. There are 4 small characters that I think play a very, very important role in this particular film. 2 of them are the parents. Josh Duhamel and Jennifer Garner have small but very effective roles as Simon's dad and Simon's mom, respectively. They probably could have gone a little bit deeper into the reaction of the 2 parents' reveal, but this isn't really about that necessarily. It's about Simon and his quest for finding true happiness, and Nick Robinson, I believe is his name, totally crushes it in the lead role. In the lead role, he is funny, he's charming, he's a little bit of a jerk. He's what this movie needs. Is a great lead in this particular movie. The third of the 4 smaller characters that really worked, or I thought were very effective in this particular movie, is Emmett, who is openly gay and shows a little bit of the darker side of it. He's very openly bullied. They don't really pull that many punches with it, and they hint at but don't go too deep into the details of his family is not super accepting of the lifestyle choice that has been made. He seems to represent or reinforce Simon's hesitancy in coming out and being his true self, because it's very obvious, the repercussions of that, both in a social and in a family sort of way. The fourth and final important minor character in this particular movie is the drama teacher or play director. I'm not exactly sure what her title is. She's fantastic. She hits all the notes. She's funny. She's the most consistently funny throughout the movie. Some of the humor in this movie doesn't actually work, and we'll talk about that here in a minute, but she is fantastic. You can tell that she's frustrated with where she is in her career, and the way that frustration comes out in such a positive and like helpful way, even though maybe it's not the most appropriate language to be using in a school, you get the feeling that people actually really do like her. And all the kids in the cafeteria, when she's screaming at these 2 kids, would get pulled into the principal's office and be like, I didn't see anything, because she's in the right. As I mentioned when talking about the drama teacher, play director, drama teacher, as the Wikipedia article behind me states, not behind me, but behind me in the monitor, doesn't matter. Not all of the comedy works, specifically with the vice principal, who's played by Tony Hale of Arrested Development fame. His character's like just super weird and doesn't serve a ton of purpose, honestly. It seems like he's supposed to be like comedic relief, but the jokes that they lead up to, and they feel like they're supposed to be intended as humorous, they just don't land. The only thing that he does that I think is effective is the fact that he takes away Simon's phone and shows just how anxious he is to get an email reply from this other person. So he doesn't do much, and he's also not super funny. So he's part of like kind of he's probably the weakest link in the movie. Thankfully, he isn't in it very much. Going back to the parents just for 1 second, I actually love the setup and payoff of Simon's dad's story. It's small, but it really worked well, and I was so happy that they went in that particular direction and not a different direction. I actually liked a lot of the way, actually, I really liked the way a lot of the plot lines tied up. It's just a good freaking movie. One last thing I really, really enjoyed about this particular movie is the way the opening sequence really, the way it comes back multiple times with just minor changes as far as like the interaction between him and his mom, the mom and dad and his sister, and the way that they set that up. You see what his normal routine is and how he normally interacts with everyone, and it makes it easy to spot the changes and how much he is affected by certain events that happen in this particular movie. I honestly can't recommend this movie enough. It's absolutely fantastic. Again, one of the best movies I've seen this year. Please go check it out. It's really, really great. One notable absence from this week's show, I was going to go see Isle of Dogs, but it didn't open here where I live. I guess the March 23rd apparently was a select cities release that I just didn't notice. So hopefully that'll be on the show in the coming weeks, which is unfortunate because I was really, really excited for that movie. I still am really excited for that movie, but hopefully we'll see it here soon. Over on the game side this week, there's only one game that matters, and it's Sea of Thieves. I know I've talked about this like 3 or 4 times on the show already, or maybe 2 or 3. It doesn't matter. It's been a bunch, and I've only had like 10 episodes or 9 episodes up to this point, and like a third of it has been Sea of Thieves. But as you can tell by the words and how fast they're coming out of my mouth, I'm just so excited. This game is so freaking great. Oh, I love it so much. Oh man, it's finally here. Just a couple of new things I want to touch on real quick here for Sea of Thieves. Obviously, I still love the game, and I'm having a blast with it. I understand, and I knew going in that the server launch was going to be rough. This is an exclusively online game for the Xbox One. It was going to have problems. That's just how gaming works in 2018. Unfortunately, their servers were overloaded so bad that they had to disable the earning of achievements because for some reason that was a big part. It was trying to dole out gold for the quests, the reputation for the specific factions, and achievements for all the players, and they disabled the achievements so it wouldn't overload the servers, which is unfortunate. So I'm currently sitting at 0 achievements for 0 gamer score, even though I'm sure I've earned a bunch. They said in an update that over the coming weeks, or here hopefully very soon, they'll be patching it and working on the servers. I think they've taken them down for like 4 or 5 hours a day for the last week, trying to get this game to run the way it should. That being said, I'm still having a great time. Some of the criticisms I've heard is the content is a little bit light. I agree with that. It's a weird thing because I agree that the basic concept is like it's pretty simple. Get quests, go find treasure or skulls or whatever, come back, get coins, rinse and repeat until you've had your fill. I'm having so much fun with it that I don't really care. I think one of the things that they have really improved is the pace of play in this particular game. I think I talked about it when I talked about it the second time, I noted the pace issues. Like we couldn't get enough. We had one quest and we go out and come back and go out and come back, and it didn't flow very well. In this particular version, the final version, the release version, they've put enough messages in a bottle and extra chests just laying around that it feels like a natural progression. I'm going to go to this island. Oh, there's a message in a bottle. What does it contain? Let's go do that. I have 3 quests. You have 3 quests. Let's just alternate and go back and forth. All that good stuff is there. The merchant quest lines aren't the best. They're my least favorite, and there's a specific reason for that. When you do a Gold Hoarders, or when you do the Order of Souls, when you do the Order of Souls, as soon as you pick up the chest from the final chest from a Gold Hoarders mission, the voyage counts as complete. when you kill the pirate and you pick up the skull from the Order of the Souls, the voyage counts as complete, which means that you don't have to go all the way in, turn in the chests or the skull, and then it is complete, if that makes sense. Hopefully that's not, one, too confusing, or two, like, over-explaining. The problem with the merchant trading company quests is they don't count until you deliver. So it can feel a lot of times like you're kind of wasting sailing. And not only that, but sometimes what you need to get, like if you need to get pigs or chickens or whatever, it can feel like kind of a crapshoot going to just different islands hoping that you get stuff on time. Because that's another part of it. You have to use your pocket watch to get stuff where it needs to go on time. So I've steered away from those. Thankfully, there are other ways to earn coin and reputation from that particular trading company in the form of sunken ships, which have had like tea crates, or you can turn in what are they, either gunpowder barrels or barrels of bananas or whatever it is. There are other ways to boost that up, but I have noticed that I have actively avoided picking up those quests because they just aren't as naturally flowing as the others. It's fun to do a gold hoarder chest and then just put 2 cases downstairs, or 2 chests downstairs, and just go to the next one. Which leads me to this week's pirate adventure stories from your favorite pirate, Captain Kesha, in which we were trying to complete a message in a bottle quest that was related to the Order of the Souls. And we spent like 45 minutes on this island after we had spent like an hour collecting all this treasure and loot in the bottom of the ship. So there was like a pretty good amount of stuff. Somebody who's wearing a Seattle jersey right now was a bit of a dumbass and didn't go down to turn in all the loot like the other person had suggested and said, hey, let's go stop by the outpost and drop all the loot. So when we spend 45 minutes at a random island, a random ship doesn't pull up and blow us to smithereens, and we lose all our loot. And so we chased them for a while, and I think they got away because we had to go. But unfortunately, we lost a boatie. So we are now on boatie 2. I will continue to update and put $1 in the change jar behind me every time we lose a boatie. So that's $1 for one boatie. A couple of other notes in this particular game. One is that I'm really excited to see where this game goes from here. I'm pretty excited to be in on the ground level of it. I mean, I'm not on the ground level, but on the day of release ground level, and watching this game kind of evolve and see how it changes in 6 months. I hope that this game gets a Gears of War 4 style updating system. I think they update that game once a quarter, Gears of War 4, and I think that it would be great if Sea of Thieves got that. And I would love to see them just pour a ton of achievements into this game. Like, just keep pouring them. Every time you do a content update, give me like 250 or 500 more gamer score. Just keep on pouring it in there. I don't care about completions, so it doesn't matter to me. There are a bunch of people on the internet it'll matter to, but that's not me. And seeing as how this game was made specifically for me and only for me, you should add all the gamer score you can to this game. One other thing that I noticed in this particular opening week is that, man, I really struggle with the riddles. I just don't do super well with them. I have trouble understanding exactly what they mean. Like there was one time we had like 3 or 4 clues on a thing, found the first clue, it unlocked the next chunk, and I just misunderstood what I was looking for. So I spent like 45 minutes like just looking around this whole island, not knowing what I was missing. And then when I finally found it, I kind of felt a little dumb, but I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I just struggle with the riddles. But I did notice that I was having a little bit of trouble with that. There's a lack of an ability to get stronger weapons, which is, I don't know. It's kind of weird because it does feel like sometimes you're going to just be stuck doing a quest for a while, or you're not going to be able to complete it. Just because you just can't get, like, if there are a ton of pirates around, or the skeleton pirates, you just constantly feel underpowered, and that's super frustrating. I also noticed that the sloop is a little underpowered as well. The sloop is the smaller boat. The galleon is much bigger. It takes 4 people to run. So not only are you outmanned on a numbers perspective, but you're outgunned as well, because you only have 1 cannon on each side on the sloop and 4 cannons on each side on the galleon. I think it would be helpful if they put a second cannon on the sloop so that you can kind of bounce back and forth and try and get some shots on the galleon. It can be a little bit easy to feel underpowered, but I'm still having a really, really good time. Fortunately, though, everyone's been pretty nice. Aside from the story I told earlier, we only lost one boat um, to other people, and we've seen a bunch of ships, and they just kind of pass on by and don't worry about us, which has been really, really nice. We just go out, get our treasure, come back. Somebody makes a poor decision, me, and we lose a bunch of loot. So those are my thoughts on the first week of Sea of Thieves. I think it's been simultaneously, like, it's run surprisingly well, but it also has a bunch of lag issues and some server issues that I'm sure they're working very, very hard on. So if you have Game Pass, give it a shot. I highly recommend this game. I really, really like it. Maybe check out some other reviews. A lot of people are less hyped about it than I am, so just keep that in mind. Granted, I'm one person on one show, so you can obviously go find other opinions. Game Pass, it's like a 10 gig download, so give it a shot. If you don't like it, no big deal. But I'm going to keep track of this game. I won't talk about it every week because that might get a little older, a little stale. But I'll keep track of, if they're putting in new DLC or new achievements or this, that, and the other thing, and I'll talk about that sort of stuff. But as for the base game, I'm really enjoying it. There are some minor issues that I'm not really super worried about because I'm just having so much fun playing this game. As always, here on the Weekend Review, we look forward to the week's new releases. In theaters, there's nothing I'm terribly interested in. I know Ready Player One comes out. I don't really care. On Blu-ray, there's nothing as well. Freaky Friday is getting a 15th anniversary edition on Blu-ray. The Sandlot is getting a 25th anniversary edition on Blu-ray. That was like all I could find. That's like scraping the bottom of the barrel. As for the games, there's one big game coming out this week, and that is Far Cry 5. I'm very excited for it. I don't know if I will have a review or impressions of it next week, probably the week after, but I will get to it. I like weirdly like flipped a switch on it one day. I was like, I don't really care about Far Cry 5, and then one day I was like, I really care about Far Cry 5, and I really want to play Far Cry 5. Also out this week, as far as games are concerned, the season finale of Batman The Enemy Within, I keep almost saying The Evil Within, but Batman The Enemy Within episode 5 is out this week. I will check it out and report back to you next week. And Gravel is getting some DLC in the form of, I think it's called the Fire and Ice Pack. I didn't actually read into it, but it's getting new DLC. Maybe there'll be new achievements. I don't know if it's enough to get me to jump back into that game. Thank you so much for hanging out, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for all the views, all the subscriptions, everything. It's awesome. I really, really, really appreciate it. And be sure to check back every Tuesday. I forgot what day of the week I post this on. I technically posted on Monday night, but whatever. It's ready for your beautiful eyeballs every Tuesday morning. So be sure to check back for more game and movie coverage. Go ahead and hit the like button, subscribe, leave a comment. What am I excited about? What are you excited about? That's what that meant. And what are you excited about? What am I missing? All that good stuff. You can tell me how wrong I am about Pacific Rim down in the comments below. We'll agree to disagree. It'll be a good time. Thank you so much. We will see you next week.